Hello and welcome to Day 2 of Blackboard Academic Essentials. This is Mike Myers and I'm a Faculty Fellow in CIL, the Center for Innovation and Learning at National University. On Day 2 we're going to basically work on collaboration, so we're going to work on discussion boards and the Collaborate tool to interact with your students. So again, you're going to do a checklist and you're going to submit that as an assignment into the Essentials course, and your facilitator from CIL will be evaluating that and giving you credit for your training in the course. So by now we know that Blackboard has this left-hand navigation area, so these will be the areas that you'll be looking at in your Essentials course. We know that if we want to add content to our class add course files, we're going to do that from our content collection, which is in our course management area in our class. And we know that there's different permission settings in Blackboard that give you different views on the navigation areas. So what I'm going to do now is switch back to preview mode. So again, I just click up here under that content collection, that little eye with the circles around it. I'm going to enter student preview mode. Again, I know that because I have this orange stripe above everything. The Day 2 area you find here in the left-hand navigation. So again, just like Day 1, you see these different icons. So these are items or information you can read. You can scroll down and you'll see two areas that we're going to work on in Day 2, discussion boards and Collaborate. Also here, just like Day 1, you have your little activity to do. So again, that's the pencil and ruler. Here's the checklist that you can download just like you did for Day 1. And then when you're ready, you'll click on the Day 2 activity and follow the directions. It'll call up the submission page and you'll submit just like you did on Day 1. So again, if you click on the discussion board area for Day 2, you'll have the same type of information and tutorials you saw for Day 1. It'll go through with you some of the features of discussion boards in Blackboard. It'll also give you some background and some pedagogy for how you craft discussion board questions, how you engage students, and you can scroll through these on your own time. When you're ready, you can go in and do the activities for Day 2, and that you're going to do again in your sandbox course, your EDU 600. This is where you have your fake students. This is the one where myself or your facilitator is going to be looking for you to post your activities for the things you're supposed to do to demonstrate your proficiency in Blackboard. And again, here in your EDU class is where you can practice. So for Day 2, the activities are listed here down in the activity area, so this checklist. So first you're going to do is you're going to participate in discussion boards. Back in your EDU 600 class, you're going to go to that discussion board area. Again, this is where you have some fake students, so they've responded to discussion boards that are already built into this EDU 600 course. And just like in eCollege, there's different ways to get to the discussion boards. You can click on week 1 where the discussion board resides, or you can click on the tool areas and click on discussion boards and get to it that way. So in this EDU 600 class, let me expand it a little bit here, we can scroll down and go to the discussion board. Here are the directions for this discussion board. Again, here's the icon, has a little pin in it like you're sticking something on a board. That's the discussion board icon. And the directions are here for what they're supposed to be posting and what they're supposed to be doing and when. So again, you can click on the discussion board, it'll open up, and just like eCollege, you're going to see all these different discussion board threads by topic. You can click on week 1 discussion and you can see who's posted to it. So to interact with your students, you can click on their postings. So for example, Lolo here is posted to this discussion board, and you can see that other students have already responded to them. And just like in eCollege, you can respond to the student directly. You can also reply to the posts that other students have made to that post in the thread. You can click on the quote button, which basically is going to put in what they posted, and then underneath you can then respond to it. If it's your post, you can edit and delete it, but of course since you're an instructor in this course, you have those options as well. So for Day 2, you basically want to look and read each student's posting and then post your reply to that student. Now as you reply to this discussion board post, you notice the content editor comes up again. You can add mashups. You can put a video here or link to a Collaborate session. You can put in files, pictures, all the things you did for your announcements like you did in day one. So here you can type feedback to them. You can post a video, a link, all the things you did in day one in this content editor you can do in the discussion board area as well. So for these activities for day one, you're going to respond to these posts that are in your EDU 600 course. You're going to encourage students with some critical thinking comments, provide some encouragement to them, and you want to respond to a minimum of 2 students. So then myself or your facilitator will go in and see that you have responded to the students and give you credit for this part of the training. As in other areas of Blackboard, you can create a discussion board thread in any unit or any area that you like, just using your build functions by simply clicking on the tools area, discussion board, and then you can create another discussion board in your class as well. So you can create a new forum, you can give it a name, you can create different discussion boards, see how they look, see how they form as well. You can give it a description, you can give it an availability by certain dates. There's different forum settings. Some of these are new and different from eCollege. There's a little bit more functionality here. Different settings you can have in Blackboard for your discussion boards. So the second activity you're going to do in this day 2 is you're going to look at this tool called Collaborate. If you've taught online before, you've used ClassSci Pro. They are the same tool. They are Collaborate. Actually, they started as Illuminate. So once you scroll through the Collaborate tutorial, there's also some tips and tricks there for you for how to do Collaborate sessions, best practices. So in Collaborate, again, just like discussion boards, in Blackboard there's a couple different ways to get to the Collaborate sessions. You may have it already posted in your, already have a marker for it placed as a tool in the home area, as most courses will. You can click on that Collaborate to call up this Blackboard Collaborate screen. You can of course get to it from your course tools area in your course management section, and also course tools if it's in your left hand navigation from your course that's running. Once you get to that Blackboard Collaborate area, you'll have a couple different rooms you can enter. So one in these sessions is you'll have a course room that's sitting there. Now this room you can join at any time. You may invite other people to it, invite students to it, sort of like a meeting room that you can have that's always ready to open. You also have the ability to schedule a session. So this is where you would have most of your Collaborate sessions. You'd schedule them once or twice a week, for example on a Tuesday or a Thursday, and you can create sessions here by scheduling them. Those will be listed then in the schedule session area. Your recordings, and you can see I've already made a few recordings here, they'll be stored here, very similar to what we had in ClassSci Pro, but a little more straightforward. You may also have an instructor room or a TA room depending upon the setup you have running in your course, but they all launch a Collaborate session, either by immediately launching or by launching them at a certain time. Now if you go ahead and click on Create a Session, you're going to see that you can name the session, you can give it a start and end time, you can repeat it if you're repeating it every week at a certain time, you can allow people to enter early, you can also have different attributes to the room, you can change the recording mode, so you can leave it as manual or automatic. This means automatic means as soon as anybody enters the room it's going to start recording. Manual means you're going to have to actually turn it on. Disabled would be if you don't want the recording session, if you don't want the Blackboard session recorded at all. Now remember in CLP, ClassSci Pro, we were stuck with automatic recording mode when people entered. So if students entered the room in ClassSci Pro, it would start recording automatically. Again, you can change how many cameras are available, how many talkers are allowed at the same time. You can change the private messaging area. You can hide names in the recordings, and you can also preload content. Now content that you're adding to Blackboard Collaborate can only be in PowerPoint files, OpenOffice documents, or image files like JPEG or GIF, and I'll show you that in just a bit. So there's a lot of functionality, a lot of different things you can do now in your Collaborate sessions. Okay, so if we go back to that Collaborate area, what I'll do is I'll very quickly open up a session. I'll just click Join Room and start a Collaborate session. Here I'm actually using Google Chrome, so it downloads that file right here, so I'll click on it to launch it. If you're in another browser, it will launch automatically, or it will be in your Downloads folder. It takes a few minutes to open up, so be a bit patient. It takes a few seconds, and it'll launch the session. It looks very similar again to ClassLive Pro. I sent the recording to manual, so it won't start recording until I tell it to. So I'll go ahead and click Start, and it'll start recording. I can turn my video camera on, and I can hit the talk button and talk as well. Notice you have the same type of screens that you had in ClassLive Pro, so you've got the participant window here, and these you can also move around. So you've got a large computer screen, you can move some of these around just like you can in Adobe Connect as well. I sometimes make the chat window a lot larger, so if students are chatting, I can see what they're typing in. Just like in ClassLive Pro, you can click on and off their video permissions, their chat permissions, their audio permissions, whether or not they can write on the whiteboard, application sharing, and web tour. So just like you did in CLP, you can turn these on and off for everybody. You notice up on the left here, I've got the whiteboard activated, so I can type different things here on the whiteboard, just like we did in ClassLive Pro. So I've got all the similar tools. I can use a highlighter, I can use a pen or a pencil, just like ClassLive Pro. I can also do application sharing. So say I want to show some software, or I just want to show something from my desktop. Here, I'll just share my desktop very quickly. I can do that with application sharing. You can also open up a URL, so you can do what's called web tour. Click in a web page. Let's try CNN. So you can share web pages. Again, I'll flip back to the whiteboard. You can just click up here to click clear page, clear all that off. You can also load content. So like I said, you can load PowerPoint files. So here, let's see, I'll go and load up a file from my class. What it's doing right now is it's actually opening up PowerPoint, and it's taking a screen capture of all the slides. So if you're loading up your PowerPoint this way, if you have animations or videos or some things, you want to keep it very simple in PowerPoint because it's just going to take a picture of each slide. If you've got a presentation that's more integrative, you might want to use the share application feature. It opens up this little page explorer window, gives you kind of a little preview, so you can kind of move forward to see what slide's coming up, for example, and you can click right to it from there. If I close this, it goes back up here, so it's integrated into the top here. If I want to bring that back, I just click Show Page Explorer. Very similar to what you had in ClassLive Pro. So a lot of times when I'm teaching, so for example, here's a scatterplot example I do in my statistics class. I can use the pen feature and I can focus them on, what is the before and after for the first patient, what's the last patient. We're going to look at the R value. I can also give them a quick quiz. So I do that with this slide, for example. I'll have them vote on A, B, or C. They can type that in, or they can grab the pen, for example, and choose their selection. It'll show them different colors for each participant, and then I give them the answer. So there's many different ways you can use Collaborate, and if you've used ClassLive Pro, you're already familiar with a lot of these techniques, but Collaborate is a lot more streamlined. The video and audio is much improved, and I think you're going to find the Collaborate to be a much better experience. Once you've finished working in your session, you can record all this session, demonstrate how you use Collaborate in your classroom, practice with some of the features, then you'll go back into your Essentials course, click on that activity page. Once you've downloaded the checklist, you'll then browse your computer and submit that just like you did in day 1 to get credit for day 2's training. So again, that lesson 2 activity, you're going to open up the Collaborate session in your Practice EDU 600 class just like I did. You demonstrate the major features like I did, the chat functions, the different tools in Collaborate, and then give some insight about how you use Collaborate, for example, by polling or by bringing in some slides or sharing web pages. Then you'll submit that for day 2 by clicking Submit, and you're all done with day 2 of Essentials, discussion boards and Collaborate, interacting online with your students.